Geordie Journo's back again at the Brandon Arms in Gosforth. It's been a while, Lee.
Best pub in Gosforth. Love the place.
It is. Friends of the channel.
How many times did you have to do that? They're never going to know this. He had to recut that about 4 times.
I pride myself on being a one-take man.
You are, to be fair.
And yeah, for some reason, being upstairs in the Brandlin made us lose me words.
In all fairness, you were at a wedding last night. You were well served. You texted me at about 10 o'clock. I thought, he's well drunk. And that was good to see.
Yeah,
very good time. So you might be nursing a little hangover today.
Yes.
As we record this on Friday, although this is the Saturday show.
Saturday show's back. Everyone cheers.
Yeah, everyone likes a Saturday show. Some people don't like the fact we call it that, but that's enough.
No, but the dust is settled on the 3-1 defeat down at Brentford. Thank you for everyone for watching that video. It wasn't the easiest video to film, but people seem to appreciate what we had to say. Yeah. So while I say the dust is settled, problem's still very much there for Newcastle United, which I think is what we're going to get into on this video. So Liam, where do you want to start and what do you want to say?
Yeah, so I think when we thought we'd come together, we did think let's maybe just try and drill a little deeper into what we think the problems are and potential solutions for Eddie Howe. Look, we'll have to caveat that with the fact is we're not qualified. I haven't got any coaching badges, are you? No.
But I think Jordan does.
Jordan does have coaching badges, but he's not here, he's still in New York. Yeah, mate, do you know what? Actually, we'll do another video and get Jordan. He's going to give you... Jordan Cronin will give you the solutions to Eddie Howe.
with his FA... grade 1 coaching badge.
He's bringing a little certificate, and he can do that. And if he can ask a question to Eddie Howe next time and slap his badges on the desk.
I'm sure to get that you only have to lay cones out and know what a substitution is.
Probably.
Like.
Qualified.
We're not even qualified. No, we don't even know what that is.
No, I haven't even got that. I don't know how to put a cone down.
No, you should just drop it.
Right, no, I think that's one of them things. Look, at the end of the day, you guys out there, you're watching this because you respect our opinions, so we can only give our thoughts with some information, because we are around the football club a lot of the time. We do speak to a lot of people, and we observe. I think that's one thing that you guys are crediting me for a little bit more, and I'm potentially sometimes immediately after the match able to say a little bit more, because you guys are just pedal to the metal, trying to get all your work done for the Shields Gazette.
Yeah.
And Jordan very much trying to get it done for Newcastle World, and I've got a little bit more freedom to watch a bit more deeper than what you guys. So we always try. That's the balance that I'll assist you get after games. Anyway, so we've all had a little bit of time to think, and I think the conclusion I've come to after a few days is very much I'm seeing various places make scapegoats for the right reasons of certain players, whether it be Nick Pope or whether it be Sven Botman, because I described his performance as really poor the other day. Nick Waltermada, from friend of the channel, Craig Hope, he's pointing, it's not a scapegoat as such.
Well, he said in our last video, didn't he? Yeah. He came on and said about him. So.
Very much pointing towards a potential solution that was brought in the summer that might have brought a whole set of different problems with it as well. Which I do tend to, I think has got a lot of credence actually. I do think there's potential in that, but I don't want to, as Craig doesn't, I'm sure, go down the route of making somebody like that a scapegoat. I don't think that's healthy for anybody. There are also potential issues. I see a lot of people pointing fingers towards Joe Linton. And is he performing at the levels? The wingers, are they producing to the levels that we want to? Anthony Gordon's had it. I think we've all of us watching this, and us as well included, have probably at some point this season made scapegoats almost to certain players. Like, he's the reason, this is a problem, that's a problem. I think ultimately there is that many of those mini crises, mini scapegoats, that I think when you pull it all together, the finger probably points at the manager.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the thing that we're going to have to look at here. And what I want to sort of think about, and I'll pose this to you, Dom, what you think of my opinion. I think the players are still the same group, largely, what was there before. They're still playing the same system, and the manager's still employing the same similar, if slightly tweaked, tactics. I think that's where the problem lies. I think when you've got a group of players that now I think have lost confidence in that system and in that approach and aren't performing at the levels they were because it's not getting the same results. You know yourself, if you do something well and you know it works, you'll keep doing it with passion. If you keep doing something that doesn't work, you lose passion for it. And I think that falls down to the manager. I think we've come to a point, a juncture, where if you keep doing the same thing, and Eddie Howe mentioned this, didn't he? If you keep doing the same thing, you're expecting different results. You won't get that. I think he is doing the same thing. And I think particularly with a focus on what Craig's been talking about in his videos, Walter Moore, Newcastle United have a very talented footballer there who doesn't look like he fits Newcastle United's system. Change it. I think the midfield at the moment looks bereft of goals, creativity, and isn't really protecting its back four again. Okay, change it. The wingers aren't working. Change it. I don't see the point in keep sticking to the rigid 4-3-3 and expecting things to just click. Now, what I would say on that, and obviously you can have your opinion on it, but I want to mention something else as well.
Okay.
When I say point the finger at the manager, this is not a scapegoating of the manager either. It purely is something that if there is somebody there to find solutions, it has to be him.
I think Eddie Howe would agree with that.
Yes,
as well.
he would. He would.
That's the point. It's not like a finger pointing thing.
No.
It's when there are numerous problems, things turn, and it's down to the manager to
find
solve them.
And one thing he always has done is in situations like this, in his 4 years, has always somehow managed to find a solution to those problems.
Yeah.
Last season was really sticky at times. The receipts are there when you go through our videos. We don't tend to... We are quite reactionary, but reactionary in an educated way. That's what I think.
Yeah.
We have emotions, but it's always built around, general theories or whatever. And I think when you go through our videos, you'll get a reaction to that 90 minutes immediately after. And it's opportunities like this where we'll be able to build on that.
Yes. There was something actually you said here this time last year about Sandro Tonali. And I think people almost jump on that comment as a criticism sometimes. But all you did was single out a player who is a very good player and said he's got 10 games to prove himself. What did he do in those 10 games? Proved himself. And that's when Newcastle's season turned around.
Yeah. What we wanted, I remember at the time I said, I want to see him get 10 games. I want to see...
because he was in and out,
because
wasn't
we have to make a decision. Is he going to give something to this team? Because I didn't think we really knew at that time.
Is he the man?
He got the 10 games and he more than proved it. And he's the best player in Newcastle United squad. So for that bloke who keeps coming in the comments, I can't always call Paul Franks or something. Honestly, mate, you're talking crap. Like you actually are. It's do me head in. Look back at the videos and you'll find out.
Ooh, you'll get a nice comment.
Probably. That's fine. I don't mind people disagreeing, but comment as well. Facts, not crap.
Right. I'm glad I set you up for that. I thought it would be.
We didn't discuss that before, but I thought I think that's his name.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, I think Eddie Howe has proven himself time and time again as a very, very good manager for Newcastle United. I think he's best manager I've seen in my time following the club. Obviously, haven't seen the likes of the original Kevin Keegan like you have, and even then Bobby Robson, and probably the back end of Bobby Robson is what I remember. So yeah, Eddie Howe has delivered success that 4 years ago we didn't think was possible. So I have to give an enormous amount of credit to him. But what I'll say, and this is not to say Eddie Howe isn't this, but elite managers will find the best solution to adapt to the squad and the players they have. Newcastle don't have Alexander Isak anymore. Why are they playing trying to play like they still have him? They need to adapt to having a £65 million striker, the most expensive player in the club's history, 69 million, sorry. They need to adapt to playing that because he is ultimately a very good footballer. And the answers could lie in, say, a player like Johan Wissa coming back, and then can you adapt? But that could be the rabbit in the hat we talked about in terms of Newcastle's season. But ultimately, Johan Wissa hasn't been available all season. It was up to Eddie Howe to get a tune out of his players, and ultimately in the Premier League it hasn't worked so far.
I think you make a great point. I think there's two major issues that Newcastle United faced so far this season. It's the full-back changes, which was really unfortunate that both got injured at the same time, and the striker getting injured. The striker getting injured, he was the Isak sticking plaster. Yeah. He was the one, and people laughed at this when I said this earlier in the season, when I talked about a £69 million striker being a project signing. Walter Marder was the project signing. He was one that they'd hope to be able to slowly, gradually start building a team where he fits into it. What they were really thrust into because of Wissa's injury was you have to play him and he has to work. Now he did. He's done enough to keep the wolf from the door. I respect that he's coming from a new place, a new league, new speed, new fitness levels, new everything, and really hit the ground running. Look, he's only struggling with the team struggling, but he might be part of the problem as to why the team's struggling as well, because they look like a team who are having to realise a new identity and are looking at it going, I don't think this works anymore. I think you're seeing midfielders who lost belief. I think wingers aren't working. None of them are working. Not one of them's really performing at a consistent level. I mean, you say Harvey Barnes had half an hour and then was irrelevant for the rest of the game. Jacob Murphy might as well not have brought his boots in some games that we've seen this season, but then produces moments. But that's him. Yeah. Elanga, I'm not sure has brought his boots this season. No. Look, I think you caveat that with the fact, little bitchy here, I think he's had some issues settling at the football club, and I think Eddie Howe hasn't said that, but has really been quick to defend him, which kind of fits into what I've been hearing. So there is a caveat with that.
Eddie Howe said it's a system thing as well, but then it goes back to the point where,
I think he's trying. I think the first real signs, there was been moments, but there was the most consistent signs were the Champions League game on the Wednesday, where Joe Linton, a lot of the time was ahead of Voltemata. They need to find that. I think Anthony Gordon has to be that player if they're going to sort of tweak things, but then you lose width. Without Lewis Hall as a left back, you have problems. So Wissa for me is the huge problem, because he was the stick and plaster that would have kept Newcastle United able to have some continuity in style. That he isn't Isak in a lot of ways, but would play more akin to Isak's style.
Off the shoulder, and the running in behind and that. Yeah,
I think he's got incredible instincts as well in the box. He would have been a proper striker, very different to Walter Marder. But I also think the fullbacks has made a difference, because Newcastle are very easy to defend against when you've now got a centre forward who wants the ball to feet back to defender. If you're a defender, you're quite happy with players playing in front of you. You don't want them going behind you. And that's what Newcastle haven't had. And I think the longer this has gone on, they're just starting to lose a bit of confidence in the way things are moving. They need a kick up the backside. That kick up the backside could be Wissa. They also, with the fullbacks, like I say, your fullbacks and your wingers have nothing to worry about with Dan Burn and Kieran Trippier anymore, and that's no slight on either of those players. Dan Burns, he's been those two arguably, you could make a case to say, value for money, those two are the best players Newcastle have signed since the takeover happened. Pound for pound. One was 12 million, I think we're both about that.
Yeah, 12,
in around,
13,
so 25 million for them two. The service, incredible performances, unbelievable. But at the age that they are, Dan Burn tries his balls off to do it on the left hand side, but he hasn't got that quality consistently to challenge fullbacks and wingers and make them go the other way rather than play their own game. Lewis Hall does that. Lewis Hall is really good at taking the ball in tight areas, tucking into the midfield, making an extra man in there, and he allows other players to freeze other players, and also bombs on with a good delivery, capable of creating and scoring goals when he gets in good positions. Trippier on the other side hasn't got the legs anymore. It still tries his balls off again to do it, but hasn't got that anymore in him. So they need Livramento to do it on the other side. I think when you've got those two posing threats on either side, and Wissa taking them 20 yards further forward, there is still hope for this season. I don't think it's lost, but it has to work. Because it's getting to the point now where the league campaign, they're the wrong side of that divide. You know, you look to 11th or 10th in the table, the gap's there. It's a 2-game gap already. That can't get any bigger. It can't.
Can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
No, I think a problem for me, and we've seen it time and time again already this season, and even parts last season, and Lewis Hall's almost the opposite to that, because I think he is one of the few creative players in Newcastle side. I think Bruno's a creative player. The wingers are athletes, they're direct. Nick Voltemata is a creative player, but again...
Who's he creating for?
Yeah, exactly. Harvey Barnes at the weekend. But there's limitations in Newcastle squad. The previously under Eddie Howe, it's all been about outrunning, outgunning, outworking the opponents. When you don't have that, you need to be more creative, and they don't have the creative players to do it, I don't think, at the moment.
I've not seen that. That's intriguing to know. I thought Newcastle, like you say, that this team's identity has always been built on that, hasn't it? But I also think that breeds a lack of confidence. I think when, like I say, when you think you're doing something that works, you'll keep doing it with a passion. If you're getting results, because that's ultimately what everybody wants. Results for that efforts in anything, any walk of life, anything you do. If they're not getting that, you lose faith. And that's why I think there needs to be a bit of an alteration of approach. Now, Eddie Howe probably counter that if you were to say that straight to him direct, off a camera away. He'd probably say, well, wait there, how am I supposed to implement a change of approach when I'm not seeing players X, Y and Z, that they're away on internationals, whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing my counter on that would be, if other teams can do it, why can't you?
Yeah.
That would be ultimately be my question.
Yeah.
You see managers elsewhere will change systems, change approaches. I mean, Pep Guardiola has reinvented Man City 3 times. Eddie Howe needs to reinvent Newcastle United this season because he hasn't got the same personnel. And people think, would one player make such a difference? Yes, it has. When that one player was scoring 60% of your goals last season, of course it's going to make a difference. And there's only so much you can carry on with the unsustainable Walter Marder approach, which was one chance, one goal. There isn't a striker in world football does that.
Who scores with every shot on target. Yeah.
It was always going to run out at some point, but I think it's unfair to point at him and say he's a reason in particular. No. He's just a different player. And again, sorry to ramble about this, because I know we'll have to get a break in. Why would you sign him? That would be my other question to if it was talking, why do you sign that player if he doesn't fit what you wanted to do? And if you're signing that player, why weren't you able to have a system change implemented quicker? The answer probably is quite basic. It was all desperation, wasn't it?
Yeah. And thinking Johan Wissa, a player who never gets injured, would not get injured.
Would do it, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a frustrating one, but we'll delve deeper after that ad break. So here's a word from our Geordie Journos sponsors. Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in. For 21 years, JLM Travel have been offering great deals on package holidays and cruises, plus low deposits and free kids places are available. Branches at Maingate Team Valley and Front Street Wickham. RJ Building Surveyors is a trusted RICS accredited family-run firm with over 15 years of experience specialising in residential surveys and valuations. Based in Yorkshire, their expert services extend nationwide. Whether buying, selling or seeking peace of mind about your home, they've got you covered. So those were our 4 Geordie Journos sponsors, and if you want to partner up with the Geordie Journos, remember to drop us an email, Liam.
What is it?
geordiejournos@gmail.com.
I do monitor it. I do monitor the inbox, to be fair.
That's your...
I'm the admin.
Yeah, you're our admin now. You just don't know what
I don't know where that email is.
You're just here for the crack, aren't you?
I am. I quite enjoy it. I've always said this before, like... You might think there's passion, emotion, you might think it's over the top sometimes, that's absolutely fine. But you'll always get honest opinions from the heart, from using the head sometimes. And I think it's like a catharsis. Mentioned this before, haven't we?
That's becoming our word.
Yeah, I hope that... I think from the comments that people put, I think other people see that as well. I think they quite like seeing the new video icon pop up.
Yeah.
And we'll sometimes get messages saying, another half hour, I'm delighted with that.
Aye.
So hopefully this makes you Saturday.
Aye. The comment section is like a forum for people to voice their opinions because we read them, we listen.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
And sometimes 10 months later, you'll have Liam calling you out in a video.
No, to be fair, I think I think that guy went to me on Twitter and tried to be a bit of a smart arse and called me and Hoopy out on Twitter, and I responded to him there. Then he thought, you know what, I'm going to go again, and then he went on our comments. And I just thought, how mate, you've made your point. It's a load of rubbish, but you're welcome to your opinion, and I don't mind that. But you'll always get that from me. I think anybody who's followed me on Twitter in the years and years I've been on there will know. You come for me, I'll come back for you. There's no, I don't mind having a bit to and fro. I think that's part and parcel of football, and I quite enjoy it. It's a bit fun.
It's opinions. That's what.
Yeah.
That's why people are watching, because they want to know,
so.
or disagree with, or agree with our opinions. But yes, moving it forward. It's the international break at the moment, and in a week's time, just over a week's time, Newcastle will be back in Premier League action against Manchester City, a side Eddie Howe has never beaten in the Premier League. Only win coming in the Carabao Cup. Right, Man City's never an easy game for Newcastle.
I know, but you seem to have the odd decent result for Bournemouth. You know, like they'd win at places, wouldn't they? Chelsea's and things like that? Or are you just thinking as Newcastle?
I'm talking Newcastle. It might extend to Bournemouth as well. I know at Liverpool it definitely did. Never beat Jurgen Klopp, I remember that. But that all changed. Well, beating Liverpool.
It changed when it mattered.
And hopefully next Saturday against Manchester City it'll change for the better for Newcastle and for Eddie Howe. But what needs to change about the team, we've sort of discussed the various problems, our thoughts on what the various problems could be. Eddie Howe has a week to prepare, his players have a week to prepare, they'll be back in training, they've had a bit of time off this past week. What needs to change for that Manchester City game?
Well, fingers crossed everybody who's away on international duty comes back fit and well. We're hopeful on that. But what I would say is, there's a strange look to Eddie Howe's team selections, and it's not luck, but he often has decisions made for him.
Yes.
And I do find, we've talked about this off camera,
yeah.
I think he's had one of the easiest decisions, the hardest decisions he'd have to make, made easy by the fact that Dan Burn went and got himself sent off.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the tough, he was going to have to pull his big boy pants on and make a bloody tough decision and say, am I going to play the bloke who I'm trying to give a new contract to, and I think might be a bit to the future, who I think's looking leggy at the minute. It might be because he's also having to cover at left back at times as well. It could be that. It could be a system thing. But he's either going to have to look at Botman and say, yep, or Dan Burn. And I think, we've said here previously, Dan Burn would have been my decision, and I would have taken Botman out of the team, no matter what's going on off the field. But he's had that decision taken away from him.
Yeah.
Lewis Hall comes in, and the change that I would like to see made, look, Newcastle have done a good job at home of playing a largely containing game against Man City, Pep Guardiola and Man City in recent years. There hasn't been many games where they've been totally outgunned or totally taken to bits. Different story in Manchester, where they're regularly taken apart. At home, they've normally been able to compete in periods of games and get results. The odd result where it's been a bonus on a season, they need a result this time. So I'm going for the 5. People won't like that, but I know people aren't happy with that. But I think you've got 3 good centre halves who can play the system, and I'll play the 3 of them with Trippier as the right back. If Livramento, you can't put Livramento straight back in.
No.
It's time for Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall comes in. That's the easy decision made. And then if you're dropping a midfielder, I think if I'm going to change a system in the whole, it's Joe Linton is the man that drops out of this team.
Also took a knock last time against Brentford.
Yeah, I think he's
probably fine.
Looks like he's back in Brazil at the minute, doesn't he? Enjoying life. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, you're not long back from the Maldives, so you've had a nice little...
Didn't get a tan though.
No, you're not a tan man, are you?
No.
I like the sun. If I get in the sun, I'll try and bake. Yeah. I don't think Jordan's much of a tan man either, is he? No, it goes bright red. Bright red, then white.
Back on topic. So, your back 5 is Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär comes back in, Malik Chow, Sven Botman.
Yes.
Lewis Hall on the left.
Tonali and Bruno are an absolute... They're almost everything you'd want in a midfield too. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I think they're almost everything you'd want in a midfield too. I don't have a problem
Do
with
Man City have the midfielders to just completely wipe them out of the game though?
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah.
That's the worry.
You could say that about any... Like, you could play 8 in midfield, they could still wipe the floor with you. Yeah. That's the same with Liverpool on the day. It's the same with Arsenal. Arsenal's the best team by far. I remember saying that immediately after that game. Like, Newcastle they've not been wiped the floor with like that for a long time in one of those top games, and that was incredible. So now I think any top team can do it, but I would probably try and play compact. It ain't going to be exciting, but sometimes you have to batten down the hatches when the goals aren't coming anyway. It doesn't look like there is an immediate switch that he can flick that Newcastle become a free scoring side again. It doesn't look like that's easily done.
No.
And like I say, with confidence low, I think a good confidence builder, they need to win the game, but I think the best way of winning that game is by trying to nick it.
Yeah, I agree. So how are you lining up?
We've done this before, I'll end up naming 12 players.
Right, so you've named so far 7. So you've got 3 more.
Walter has to start up front, there isn't any other option.
Yeah.
So I need a couple of wide players, don't I?
Your 2 wingers.
If Alanga can switch his head on, right?
You play him.
And be much more tactically aware than I've ever seen from him so far, and tuck in and do his job and work hard, and give them an option going the other way, I'd play Elanga, and that's a rarity for me because I've not been impressed by him this season. But I think this is the type of game that could suit him.
Yeah, when they're on
if you're going to soak it, then you're going to get you potentially get spaces in behind. So I'll play Elanga, and if Anthony Gordon's fit, I think he probably has to play. I think he's played.
Turned up against Man City last year, didn't he? I think he played up front in that game because he said was unavailable. He scored.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? That Gordon's not a striker, but Newcastle probably, it's a low bar. Potentially played a little better at times when he has played that striker, just haven't looked like scoring goals. So you think of the games that he's played striker this season, when Newcastle played at their best, half an hour against Barcelona, and about an hour, 70 minutes against Liverpool. Although some of that was without him.
Yeah.
But they looked a bit more of a threat, it's just he couldn't finish. I think that's his issue. If Anthony Gordon was a finisher like he probably thinks he is in his head, then he's a perfect striker because his movement's really good.
Yeah.
And he actually plays the role okay, but you lose goals, full stop. Doesn't look like scoring them when he gets his opportunities. And that's the problem that they've got. That Anthony Gordon is even though I think his attitude is one thing that a lot of fans have fallen out of love with Anthony Gordon, and I can see it. I speak to people that are like, oh, get rid of him. And I kind of understand it because I think he doesn't present the best version of himself sometimes. But we don't know how much of this he's been playing with this injury and how fit he really is. Look, if Harvey Barnes has to play, Harvey Barnes has got a goal in him. And I've maybe, because of that and because performance levels have dropped, I've maybe grown a little bit more of an appreciation of Harvey Barnes compared to what I was previously. That if you're building a squad and it is a squad game, then I don't mind the fact that he can come in and chip in with goals, but he is largely anonymous a lot of the time.
Is it not the sort of reality of Newcastle's situation? Harvey Barnes looks good in mid-table Premier League
lower
teams,
mid-team.
i.e. when he was at Leicester.
That's probably what he is.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to go there, but it feels like a strange season. I still don't think that would be acceptable, Dom.
No, unless they're doing something in the cups.
He started in 11th, goes back below that, and
starting at 11th when he gave every other team, or when Newcastle gave every other team a 7-8 game head start.
Yeah,
didn't win till 14th game or something. That season.
Yeah, you know what? Now you say that, now you think about that, it shows that things can turn around very quickly. And we're still only talking about, I mean, for the amazing season that Sunderland have had, I mean, how many points are they ahead? 7 points, 3-game gap, and they're flying. I mean, they're 4th or 5th in the table or whatever, something, aren't they? So it's not, the gap isn't insurmountable. I think that the Premier League as a whole is probably a bit more bunched this year and tighter. There is only one outstanding team in Arsenal, and Man City, you can imagine with an outstanding goal scorer, might well push them quite far.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I wouldn't say there's anything to fear, but every team's better than they were.
Yeah.
And there isn't necessarily the absolute rubbish at the bottom, which
Wolves have had a really bad start, but they're still, before this season, an established Premier League team.
Yeah.
So, it's if it wasn't Sunderland, and I was speaking to a Sunderland fan last night at the wedding, if it wasn't Sunderland, it would be quite refreshing the way 3 teams have come up and almost took the Premier League by the scruff of the neck and just went, no, we're going to give it a go. We're going to sign some players and really not just stink the place out, which teams have done far too often.
It's been good for the Premier League.
It has, but
it's crap to watch for us. I don't want them doing well.
No.
It doesn't reflect on what Newcastle are doing for me, but their success is irrelevant to Newcastle United's, but it never, as a fan base, you always want your rivals to fail and you want yourself to do well, so it always does colour people's judgment, I think, of how the season's going. That if Sunderland are bottom of the league and Newcastle are where they are now, I still think people would be angry at what's going on. I do think it would be slightly softened.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it adds pressure.
Yeah. Oh well. One player we didn't mention, or one position we didn't mention, goalkeeper. What you're doing there? Nick Pope can cost.
Are you asking us what I think he'll do? Or are you asking what I want to do? Because they're 2 different questions.
Yeah.
I think he'll go with Nick Pope if Nick Pope's passed the concussion protocols, which I think he will have. I would imagine by then. 12 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a strange one, that, by the way, Dom.
Because he played on.
He got concussion from the fall, where he looked like I hadn't seen it again. It was just to the eye.
I thought he
looked like he fell on his neck,
I thought he was
top of his back.
or something like that.
And then he sort of sobbed. I thought, oh God, I'm a bit worried about him. And then he was all right, played on. sorry to call the Newcastle medical team out, but how did they realise he had concussion when the penalty was given? And they didn't when he was injured? Anyway.
It's not the first time this season it's happened. It's almost like you just want to be absolutely sure, and you might give it the benefit of the doubt every time. I don't know how it works. Exactly how the process works.
It was strange the way it worked out, and then obviously then Ramsdale came on. And for me, you can't reflect anything in that game that Ramsdale did wrong. It was just the circumstances. Conceded 2 goals, went from 1s each to 3-1, didn't it? With Ramsdale goal. But for me, he's a much better all-round goalkeeper. And I've made this. I think Nick Pope's been, again, if you're going to say pound for pound, he's up there. He's up there, considering he cost less than 10 million quid and has produced lots and lots of goal-saving performances and result-saving performances. Won Newcastle more than he's ever lost, even though he's made mistakes. They all do. But I look at it, and I look at 2 different things, right? So everyone talks about Nick Pope being this outstanding shot stopper, and I think he is. And Ramsdale probably gets a bad rep because he's an outstanding shot stopper too. I would argue there's probably only 5% of saves that Nick Pope makes that Ramsdale couldn't. I don't think there's much between them. I genuinely don't. That even might still be doing a disservice to Ramsdale. But it's probably because of his size. Nick Pope's really good with saving the ball with his feet. Like, he extends, he's got a big frame, long levers. He makes some really good saves. So he makes, let's just say, for example, he makes 5% more saves. 5% of the saves Ramsdale couldn't make. I would argue, in another really important part of the game, he's 5 times, not 5%, 5 times the footballer that Nick Pope is. So you're benefiting a very small amount in one particular part of department, and you're losing out so much in another that I don't think it balances. So for me, Aaron Ramsdale is the goalkeeper Newcastle United have been crying out for years.
I agree. I appreciate the Kennedy maths behind it all as well.
It's not always the best, is it? Maths? I mean, they're a bit like back of a fag pack and stuff, but
aye.
You're the stat man, I'm the waffle. But I think that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe not 5 times the footballer. Might be a bit of that's a disservice to Nick Pope, by the way.
Yeah.
But he might give you 25% or 40% more in terms of footballing. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing.
The extra defender, which you speak about when you're in possession, is so important. It gives you the extra man. It gives you the creativity as well. I'm not saying Aaron Ramsdale is the absolute goal kick for distribution expert or anything, but if he's light years ahead of Nick Pope in that.
If he's playing, he's England's number 2, by the way. That's my opinion, because I remember him from Arsenal. He was outstanding, and yes, people say he's made some wrong career moves. He made moves in his career recently, particularly that move to Southampton, because he had a base there. It was probably he made a wrong decision, not on football reasons. He made a decision to go down because it was home.
And I can play, yeah.
Yeah, and like, it's the Rob Edwards debate, isn't it? Like what decision do you make? Do you make the right decision football-wise? Do you make the one for your life? And I think he made a life decision that ultimately backfired. And I think he's in a moment now where he's like, doesn't matter any of that now. I need to be, if I want to do well in my career, I need to be playing football matches. And he's come here, arm around the shoulder. Eddie Howe knows him really well, and I think he probably hoped he might have nudged Nick Pope out by then. They're good friends, but I think he would have hoped, professionally, I might have nudged him out by now. This is the time. Ramsdale needs a run, and we'll know in 10. Like I always say, the 10 games. If Ramsdale got 10 games, might be a different conversation. He might have dropped 5 clangers. Might not be performing as well as you think. You might think, bring Nick Pope back. Happened with Dubravka last season, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. So that's a potential solution for Eddie Howe and Newcastle United, but again, you'll only know once you see it, and it has to happen in order for that to materialise. So we'll be back, certainly ahead, myself and Jordan ahead of the Man City game, Eddie Howe press conference. We'll look to do another video before that.
I think so. If we can,
but if you like what we do here on the Geordie Journos, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all your latest Geordie Journos content. Hype the video as well. I've had a few messages, people asking, what's hype? But
have you?
We got on the leaderboards, which is...
we're in the top 100, and I don't know what it is, but we're about...
Most hyped.
80 odd, aren't we?
Brilliant. So thank you for hyping. And thanks for watching.